Jai Sadgurudeo to all. Welcome again to another episode of Vihangam Yoga online satsang series, online satsang weekend series. I welcome you all aboard this platform. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and thank you for taking out time from your busy schedules to be a part of this platform. It is indeed a great pleasure to have all of you as a part of this gathering. I am Anurag Dev, your host of the day, and today that we are not going to talk on any specific topic in this particular uh, episode of online gathering. Instead, today our focus of this session would be to address, to answer several queries that have been not yet answered due to timing restrictions in our previous sessions concerning multiple subjects. So, during the course of the session, as we already know, any questions that comes up that you feel needs to be clarified can be posted on slido.com/bygos and also via the WhatsApp numbers that has been shared on the screen. So as and when the time permits, we will take up those questions live. Uh, so meanwhile, I'd like to introduce the international global panel that I have today for the today's session. We are being joined by Vinita ji from USA. Rekha ji is joining us from USA. And today from India, the prime speakers, we have Hemant ji and Aditya ji, who will be joining us from India today. Hemant ji joins, and Aditya ji is joining probably from Calcutta today. Vijay Kumar ji, also the prime speaker of the day, he is joining from USA. And once again, we will be privileged to have Sanat on the platform, the kid that presented, that prayed, that recited Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan last time. He is joining from USA. So altogether, we have a mix and match of our eminent speakers from several parts of the world. And I welcome all of you together on this platform. Thank you for being a part of it. Some of you have been, great in last previous sessions and have provided a continued service. Thank you very much. And uh, to start the session, we started as usual with our traditional welcome of the divine energy through Swagat Gan, which will be later followed by Mangal Gan. Through Swagat Gan, we welcome the divine's energy, the Sadgurudeo's energy, to bless the occasion with his presence, with his energy. And with Mangal Gan, we pray for universal peace. We pray for the eradication of differences in the society, eradication of all kinds of differences to be specific in the society, and thus aim towards universal peace. For both these prayers, I would like to redirect my attention and hand over the control to Vinita ji from USA. Vinita ji, I hand over the control to you. Please go ahead with Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan.
Thank you, Anurag ji. Jai Sadgurudeo to all. स्वागत गान आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत सुभागम आए अध्यात्म विद्या दिव्य ज्योति सोमरस बरसाइए दोष दुर्गुण दूर करिके शुद्ध हंस बनाइए वेद गम गति ज्ञान गर्जन शक्ति द्वार हटाइए खुले द्वारा शब्द सागर भक्त जन अनहवाइए जन सदा फल विश्व शिक्षक सान आन बचाइए आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत सुभा गमाइए। बोलिए सदगुरुदेव की जय। मंगल गान। विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए वर्ग द्वंद अशांति दूर कर भाव भेद मिटाइए सार्वभौम समष्टि सत्ता ध्यात्म राज बनाइए देश भाषा भाव जग में ज्ञान पर दर्शाइए समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल नीति स्वर अपनाइए विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए। बोलिए सदगुरुदेव की जय। बैक टू अनुराग देव जी।
Thank you very much, Vinita ji. विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए. In the end of this particular prayer, Swamiji says, Samriddhi Sukh Santi Dharatal Swarga Bhumi Banaiye. A prayer for universal peace, a prayer to Almighty to grant us the wisdom to be free from these social differences among us, thus lead to have a heavenly environment on this earth. This prayer, in very few lines, in very few words, summarizes the entire goal of human pursuit. We will elaborate more on this topic in the forthcoming the session, in the coming talk, and the several question answers that we take today. For the time being, I move towards another great recitation and another recitation of an surveyed, the book, the encyclopedia of spirituality, written by Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. Not any reference. The very speciality of Sadgurudeo's Gyan, Sadgurudeo's knowledge is, it is not a reference from any other book, any other scripture. The very source of knowledge which Sadgurudeo teaches us through this encyclopedia of spirituality, through Swarved, is purely based upon his own spiritual experiences on the path of exploration. We are blessed, and not just we, the one who are already associated with the knowledge of Brahma Vidya in Vihangam Yoga, not just we, the entire creation, knowingly or unknowingly, is blessed to have this unparalleled creation of Sadgurudeo, the Swarved, among us today. It is the light in the darkness, in our pursuit of happiness, in our pursuit of goal. I move our attention towards Abhaji from Australia to continue and go ahead with the recitation of few relevant compositions from this great scripture surveyed. Abhaji, over to you.
जय सूर्योदय एवरीवन, थैंक्स अनुराग जी। स्वरवेद पाठ। सब तत्वों का ज्ञान है परम पुरुष विज्ञान, सहज योग अभ्यास है डोर विहंगम जान। A seeker gains the true and clear vision of Param Prabhu, scientific knowledge only when a practitioner does the yogic practice of Sahaj Yoga and his Chetan Surati starts flying in the sky like a bird. Every spiritual experience and knowledge becomes clearly visible to the yogi. So the same Apt Purush statement becomes a proof of spirituality for the world to follow. Brahma is the cause of all spiritual knowledge. Physical science cannot visualize Chetan elements. Each and every knowledge becomes clearly visible after the darshan of Param Prabhu. Supreme truth is visible through the conscious truth only. Therefore, complete truth is attained by conscious science. The Sahaj Yoga is practiced on the level of pure soul, in which man and pranas are absent. In Sahaj Yoga, however, pranayam, kumbhak, shatkriya, which are 6 yogic cleansing process, and piercing of chakras does not take place. When the consciousness gets stabilized on the spiritual land, then the kundalini automatically leaves its path, and that yogi avails the benefit of nectar loving pleasure at the conscious level by going in the sky with the distinct of its pure ray. After the renunciation of the Jad Bhumi, Vihangam Yoga is acquired. ब्रह्म विद्या प्रकाश है भक्ति मुक्ति सुख धाम, गाथा यह अध्यात्म है अमत सनातन नाम. The ultimate Param Purush is attained in the light of Brahm knowledge by the experience of Yoga technique in Chetan Dham. This is a spiritual principle. There is no saga of any caste or cult, but it is the light of Sanatan Brahma Vidya philosophy. This light of Sanatan Brahma Vidya has been going on in the world since the beginning of creation, apart from the knowledge of modern philosophy, where knowledge is not an experience of Parbrahm. It is not a science but a sect. From the body, mind, intellect, and the means of speech, Parbrahm is not attained, because that Parbrahm is beyond the mind, intellect, and senses. To achieve metaphysical object, one has to have the supernatural means. This is why this unnatural Param Prabhu is the means of speech away from entertainment. Its receipt is by Sanatan Brahma Vidya, which is devoid of sect, opinion, and thought. त्रैगुण धर्म संबंध में मिले न निर्गुण नाम, निर्गुण निर्गुण भक्ति है चेतन चेतन धाम. By relating to the 3 qualities of nature, Sat, Raj, Tam, as long as the spiritual consciousness is engaged, then the unnatural conscious word, the realization of the ultimate, cannot be attained. Both soul and Parabrahm are conscious entities. Both are devoid of the qualities of nature. When the soul is involved with the body, this nature Trigun is also attached with it. Therefore, there is devotion of Nirgun Parbrahm from Nirgun soul, where there is no relation of nature. The relation with homogeneous object remains constant, however, not with the heterogeneous objects. For example, the relation of iron and wood is opposite. It cannot stay stable for a long period of time. The union of wood to wood and iron to iron having same property will have a stable result. Therefore, the soul and Parbrahm are conscious and nirgun. Devotion takes place with regards to these 2 entities. the Jad Chetan relationship is not going to be stable. Therefore, both soul and Parbrahm, being conscious together in conscious world, Chetan Dham, and stay stable. The relation between Jeev and Brahm is inherently natural, and the relationship of nature to soul is unnatural, unfavorable. Therefore, by staying with Trigun nature, unnatural Parbrahm cannot be attained. Chetan soul attains the Chetan Parbrahm, that is conscious soul, devotes the devotion to Chetan Parbrahm by leaving the Jad Anatma Jagat. Jai Sarudev. Over to you, Anurag ji.
Thank you very much once again, Avaji, for this recitation of these wonderful lines from Sarved. Avaji recited a very wonderful line. Traigun dharma sambandh mein mile na nirguna. The achievement of the ultimate is not possible unless there is an attachment with the worldly attributes. We are going to elaborate this in a little more detail, the same thing, in a little more detail in our forthcoming talks. So basically, the achievement of ultimate is not possible without detachment with the worldly attributes. So where does that leave us with our worldly attributes? Why is there a pursuit for these worldly attributes, and where is the relevance of this pursuit? We are going to discuss questions like this in the forthcoming talks. And as I introduced my international global panel with you today, we are graced with the presence of our prime speakers, Hemant ji from India, who is joining us. Hemant ji has already been a prime speaker on this platform before, being a former NASA scientist. He brings with himself a very logical modern view to these questions, as well as the view of an ardent Vihangam Yoga seeker and practitioner. Vijay ji, I personally know him for last 10 or 11 years. He, in plain and simple words, he has been living a blissful Vihangam life. He belongs to the software industry. And we have Aditya ji today with us, who is joining us from Kolkata, India. Aditya ji, by profession, is a dancer and runs a dance and a yoga and a fitness academy at Kolkata, and has been a practitioner of Vihangam Yoga, practical meditation technique, for a very, very long time. So with this group of individuals, as you see, these are not like the sages in forest and in mountains. These are the people from among us who brings with themselves a unique combination of both modern logical based thinking as well as how Vihangam Yoga, how the unique meditation technique of Sadguru Sadafal Ji Maharaj is leading the path, is able to answer these queries. So we are going to discuss this more, and we will start with Hemant ji. So as and when I go ahead with questions, I will be directing the questions by name to all of you. And before I start, I just want to make sure that my voice is loud and clear and audible at your side. Hemant ji and Vijay ji.
Yeah, thank you, Anurag ji, and thank you for having me here. I'm able to listen to you.
Vijay ji, is it audible to you?
Yeah. Thanks for inviting us. Thank you.
Welcome both of you in this first part of the question answer talk. So on the slido.com, we have several questions related to this topic, and I would basically start with a subject that is very, very relevant to all of us, and it's very common. So most of the times, the question itself reads as, how can we control the urge for physical subjects? So in one line, the seeker basically is asking for the way to control the urge for physical subjects. So basically, most of the time, we are doing so many things. Okay, so there are two parts to this question. The one part is, how do I control the urge for physical subjects? I mean, it may be something that I don't want to do, or it may be just a temptation which guides me towards doing it, consciously, unconsciously. So I think in our general day-to-day life scenarios, most of the time we do fall prey to such kind of urge, where unwanted, consciously, unconsciously, we are drawn towards the physical subjects, and we do the things. So Hemanji, I'd like you to reflect upon this particular topic as to how this can be handled.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anuragji. The question is very relevant to all of us, and the answer could be put in just simple words. Whenever we desire to enjoy a pleasure of any object which we attain or achieve with very hard work, you can just think about a couple of things. Is the happiness that we are deriving from that object is permanent or it's temporary? Is it just giving us a momentary happiness? Is it just transient? Or the happiness would last forever? We all know that whatever we achieve in our life is only short-lived. It does not last long. And so that's the first thing we must always think about it. And second thing, is it permanent? So this becomes very, very important in the present context. Our body is changing every day. The object which we achieve diminishes with time. The age, everything age here. Anything that gets created gets destroyed in this world, including our body, including our house, so everything has a time stamp on it. So that makes things very, very important. And this also reminds us, because we come from Vihangam Yoga, when Sadguru Shridhar Devji Maharaj was on the pursuit of seeking the true knowledge, and when he got the glimpse of the eternal master of spirituality, the eternal Sadgurudeo, the first question that the master asked him is that, why do you want the worldly riches? I would give you the worldly riches. Why do you want the true happiness? And Swamiji says that even if you give me the worldly riches, no matter how long they are, they would still finish off at some point of time. And I want to achieve happiness which would be everlasting for me. So if there is a way to achieve that, I would rather pursue that rather than just going on for riches eventually, which anyway will leave you here, because whatever you achieve in this world, as you have got that while you are in this journey of this life, and whatever you achieve, you have to leave at some point of time, including your body, your family, your relatives, your house, whatever riches you have earned. And no wonder the sons and the saints have given us a message that मित्र प्यारे सोच देखो जग में क्या नित्य है, यह दृश्य जो विचित्र भाषे वह सभी अनित्य है, जो आज रहा वो कल नहीं, जो कल रहा सो अब नहीं, प्रकृति का यह खेल है, क्षण क्षण बदलता सब सही. So this is more of a nature of the physical world, which we also call Maya, or the physical world which we achieve in the form of objects. And they're all changing, they're all transient, they're all made of atoms and molecules. And this world, from the scientific perspective, it started from a Big Bang. And since then, from last 13.7 billion light years, everything has been evolving, but just nothing but interactions of atoms and molecules. So there's nothing permanent here. So we need to think about it while we go out and have urge of desire for anything. There's no harm in having any urge for desires, but then we also must think that when we achieve that, is it going to give me the permanent happiness? So, and we all at the end of the day want to have something which should give us peace and happiness. So that would be, my take on that. Anuragji.
Yeah, so as you rightly mentioned about the things being, everything, 13.7 billion years, the entire universe has been changing, expanding, nothing has been in its state, I mean, a single state for eternity. So everything has been changing. And as you also mentioned, the urge, the physical riches that we acquire, the temporary nature of it. So there comes another question from this particular topic. So is it good? I mean, is there any harm in acquiring more riches in our day-to-day life? Even if I know that it's going to be a temporary wealth for me, a temporary accumulation for me, uh, is there any harm in acquiring it than we already have? And how should, from a Vihangam Yoga perspective, or from a Vihangam Yogi perspective, uh, one should reflect upon this statement that, on one hand, we see that this is temporary, but on the other hand, we keep on acquiring it every day. Uh, how do we reflect upon this, Hemantji, from a Vihangam Yoga perspective?
Yeah, that's another very nice question. Sahib Kabir says that Sahib itna dijiye jame kutumb samaye, मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं, साधु भूखा न जाए. In one context, our seers and sages have given us the message that we should aspire for only those riches or happiness from the God or from the Almighty, so that we also should live happily, should be content, should be satisfied. At the same time, someone who visits us, they also should be content from our service that we offer to them. That's having said that, there's absolutely no harm in achieving as much as possible, even including the Vedas and the Upanishads. They've always advocated, they've advised us that we should acquire as much wealth as possible, as much riches, as much as power as possible. But it should not be relentless. We should not adopt too scrupulous means to achieve that. We should not get carried away by just because the moment we start getting engaging ourselves in this world, and we start acquiring the desires which actually comes from within us, which we call soul, eventually immediately gets overpowered by the quest of the mind, because the soul needs the mind to interact with the world, and it's the mind that runs this world. And Swamiji says that man prasanna ke karma mein maya bandhan jaan, sant viveki nahi kare jo man nahi maan. So if you get engaged in a lot of activities that is essentially sensually controlled and which eventually is bossed by the mind, then eventually you are getting engaged more and more in this physical world. And instead of getting detached from this world, you get attached, you get lured, you you don't even know, but you're getting in some way getting addicted towards that. And then that's what the saints, or Sadguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj, the founder of Vihangam Yoga, says that the sant, or someone who is viveki, or someone who has a able or controlled mind, would not engage in that, and instead would do something which mind would not pursue after, but something that they would be content in their world. At the same time, they will also continue to have time to do the bhajan, or which we say the prayers to the Almighty. That's also equally important. Uh, Again, having said that, the other aspect is that, let's see, if we earn more riches, so what's the harm? We should go out and do the charity. We know that the people who are in need, the society who are in need, and who is going to give them? It's those who actually earn more. they should give out, the helping hand to others. And that's another way to do the service to the Almighty. And if you do that, then the riches which you earn as such doesn't actually affect you. It doesn't affect the pursuit towards spirituality also. It actually in some way helps you to move forward in spirituality, so you become spiritual from within. So one way you can say that you can garner as much as possible from outside, but from inside you should remain detached. And it's always the for any practitioner to progress in spirituality, one liner would be that you continue doing your practice, whatever you're pursuing, but at the same time you should remain detached from within. And that's what's the message of including the Bhagavad Gita and all the spiritual scriptures we know of. So I would just recommend that, and from the perspective of Vihangam Yoga, that we should continue to earn the riches, but we should not get lost in that. We need to be careful about that. And if at all, we should also try to start giving up what we have and just retain that much which would be helpful and it's needed in our life, and so that we get peace at the end of the day and we could sleep peacefully. Yeah, thank you very much.
Very rightly said, Hemanji. So basically, as I consider this point, I think we are referring to a parallel journey. So there is a journey of the body that starts with birth and ends with the death, and in this entire frame, there is no harm in acquiring what we are capable of acquiring with reference to the materialistic world. But as I infer from your explanation, there is another journey with which we shall not detach ourselves while being involved into this particular materialistic, gathering in this materialistic achievements. Coming to you, Vijayji. So basically, I would like you to be a little more elaborate on this particular aspect of, uh, being with the world and at the same time, you know, not forgetting one's own journey, which our scriptures, which are Vedas, which our saints have referred to. So basically, what I'm trying to bring out is, as Hemanji said, there is no harm in gathering worldly riches, but at the same point, we should not detach ourselves from our own journey. So basically, I would like you to reflect for some time on this topic.
Yeah, Jigyasupan, everybody, and I'll begin with voice seconding what Hemanji already said. I second his opinion, saying, Ajramaro vitpragyo vidyam artham chachintiyet, grito keshu mrityunam dharma macharet. As the ancient scripture has already spoken about it, saying that you always consider yourself that you are going to live here for long, and so you should put no bondage on how much wisdom you should earn and how much riches you should earn. There is no harm in going after wisdom and the earth, the riches which can help the society, which can help the individual in your family, in society, in the nations, because every day-to-day activity is based on the artha, the resources that you have in hand, so they are required. But the second line has the prime message in this, which says, Grihito Keshushu Mrityunam Dharma Macharet. We must not forget that the death is holding the hair and is ready to pull us, snatch our life any moment. And you cannot just forget this fact that you have such a limited, unpredictable amount of time. You do not know how long you're going to live. That is also the fact. It's a truth. And Sadhguru Dafal Devji Maharaj emphasized the situation of every one of us, which we all need to introspect. He said in one of the Swarved Doha, he says in Swarved, मेढक मुख जिमि सर्प के मच्छर के मुख बाय त्यो जीवन मुख काल के विषय भोग रही धाय. The fact of the matter is that just like the snake is slowly, swallowing the tortoise, the medhak, the tortoise inside her mouth, yet when the mosquito comes in front of that, it is trying to eat mosquitoes instead of saving his life. Why? Because it is so much used to, it is so much addicted to the taste of the mosquitoes, and it just gets attracted to it without worrying about the death that is just few minutes away. Similar situation is with all of us. If we look at our life, if our 30 years 40 years have passed, it is something like that much of life has been already eaten by the time, and now we have only limited time left. So when this very consciousness is risen up by some talk or some kind of awakening within us that says yes, that's a fact, that we have limited human breath and already 40 years are past, just few more years left. This very thought itself will start kind of generating a deep urge to understand what is the meaning of this life. Then do I have to just chase around you know things which temporarily give me satisfaction, but then I am back to ground zero, knowing no meaning of this life, just having no understanding where am I heading to? So when all these contemplation starts happening, that's when you start getting little serious about your life, and this can be then channelized towards the path which our scriptures have already spoken about. Scripture says that this human life is a rare opportunity. This is a rare opportunity where every moment of your life can be as blissful as the ocean, the depth of the ocean, whereas the kind of happiness that we are after is just like a drop of water. So do we really want to chase after the droplets of happiness, or we want to now do something which can give us the experience of the ocean, the bliss ocean itself? When this very seriousness comes within us, that's when we make a discipline in our life. We make some firm commitment that from tomorrow I would like to practice certain technique which our ancient seers and sages have already done and said, I have experienced the bliss. Not only have I experienced the bliss, but I have also got the freedom from the sorrow. I have got the detachment from inside because I learned the technique how to remain detached. It's a technique, it is a science. And unless we experiment ourselves in that science, we are not going to attain the state of the mind in which you feel detached. Just speaking from the mouth that I'll remain detached from the external, lures of subjects, from the Maya. Speaking this is not going to help.
So
It,
Vijayji,
yeah,
sorry
yeah,
for the small interruption. So I would like to conclude in next 1 minute.
sure. Yeah.
Will that should be fine?
Yes, thank you. So all I'm trying to say is it solely depends on what is the frame of your mind in which you are living your life. If your mind is still impure and just hearing and speaking about that, no, I should get detached from the external subject, is not going to help. It is a natural transition that happens when we truly follow the technique of what ancient seers and sages have done already, which is dipping your mind into the practice of meditation. Only when we meditate, When we collect our consciousness from outside and practice to gather it inside, that's when our natural state of detachment is achieved. So it's a matter of adopting daily practice of meditation every morning, every evening. It is something which needs a daily practice of serving others, developing the quality of service within. When these becomes our inherent characteristics of life, that's when the natural state of detachment is achieved, and then we enjoy the true love and peace, which is very pure and innocent. And and that's when we from inside are at bliss and peace without being dependent on external subjects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vijayji. So that was indeed enlightening on this subject. And this basically reminds me of very relevant compositions from Survey, where Swamiji says, तीन लोक की संपदा आए बसे घर माही तबहु मन शीतल नहीं और मिलन मन माही. The wealth of the entire creation, if that also is available to us in our house, I don't think it is going to quench the thirst of our mind, to quench our thirst for more. And then Swamiji also says, तीन लोक की संपदा एक श्वास सम नाही हीरा समय अमूल्य है हरि सुमिरन के माही. I think that is what Vijayji was trying to bring out. That the entire creation's wealth cannot be even compared to the value of one breath in human life. That's the importance of the human life, and that's how wonderfully Surved brings it out. We will continue further into this question answer session. For the time being, I move my attention towards bhajan. I request Rekha ji from USA to go ahead, take over the control and present a bhajan among us. Rekha ji, over to you.
Thank you, Anurag Dev ji, and Jai Sadgurudeo, everybody. Bhajan. Guru Sukrit Dev Daya Karike Jan Darshan Deen Swajani Jani विश्व प्रचार विवेक मिला अधिकार आधार विधान बने गुरु सुकृत देव दया करके जन दर्शन दीन स्वजानी जनी संशय संकट गमन गति संशय संकट गमन गति बढ़ नाही सके बल क्षुद्र गनि सब पूर्ण पुरातन देव भने गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जने गुरु सुकृत देव दया करके जन दर्शन दीन स्वजानी जने मधुमत विश्व प्रचार चले मधुमत विश्व प्रचार चले सब कारण वारण जान मने साधक बाधक आप रहे दुख द्वंद्व मिटा कर स्वच्छलने गुरु सुकृत देव दया करके जन दर्शन दीन स्वजानी जनी संसार प्रचार महाबल में लघु क्षुद्र प्रभाकित जाय जने बल जीवन शक्ति प्रदान करे गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जने गुरु सुकृत देव दया करिके जन दर्शन दीन स्वजानी जने. Sadguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj in this bhajan says that the eternal master appeared in front of him and gave him the knowledge of Brahma, of Vishwaprachar. Sadguru Dev prays to the eternal master to provide him extreme strength for the propagation of Brahma Vidya Vihangam Yoga knowledge. With this, I would like to conclude here. Boliye Sadgurudeva ki jai. Over to you, Anurag Dev Ji.
Thank you very much, Rekhaji, for this wonderful recitation of bhajan. Of course, and indeed, this is a prayer from Sadguru to the eternal master to bless the creation, with wisdom, to bless the creation to have universal peace, and for the continued prachar, the propagation of Brahma Vidya in this creation. With this wonderful bhajan, I would now continue with the question answer session that we were having with our global speakers. This time I move my attention towards Aditya ji, who has joined us from Calcutta today. Aditya ji, welcome. I welcome you on this forum, and I hope I am clearly audible to you at this point of time.
Yes, Anurag ji. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you on the forum. And basically, now what we will do is so as we heard from Hemant ji and also from Vijay ji regarding this particular relentless pursuit and the goal of human life in parallel to be realized in the presence of Sadguru, in presence of an able spiritual master, I would bring down my attention to another very basic aspect of our personality, of our day-to-day life, the restlessness. So the seeker, the question as it reads in Slido is, why are we restless? So basically, this is a very open-ended and a very broad subject, I understand. And I have further bifurcation of these questions, but I would first like to hear your opinion on this particular matter. We have another 7 minutes of time, so we would like to conclude our conversation within that time frame. Over to you, Aditya ji.
Thank you, Anurag ji. So why are we restless? Now, most of the times, what we are seeking is usually unreasonable and unrealistic. We have high expectations and desires. And this is because most of the times what we desire is either based on what others may have that we don't. Hence, we wish to possess it. We're so consumed by the world around us, and we set our standards and expectations based on what everyone else around us possess. And sometimes we also hope we are the only ones who have it. Because if everyone's going to be rich, then nobody is rich. Now, when we don't get what we want, we get dejected, depressed, and restless. So every human being is afflicted by the Trayata or the triagonies, namely Adhyatmik, which is spiritual, Adibhautik, which is physical, and Adidevik, which is celestial. So I would just like to talk about the Adhyatmik since we don't have much time. which is a spiritual agony, which arises due to the internal causes within the body. The adhyatmic agony can be divided into two parts based on the way they manifest. One agonizes at the physical level, and the other one is mental or mansik pain. Now, the mansik suffering emanates from kam, which is lust, krodh, which is anger, mad, which is pride, lobh, which is greed, ahankar, which is egotism, jealousy, malice, dejection, rag, which is the feeling that seeks to enjoy the material pleasures repeatedly, moh, undue attachment, and so on, all of which bring about sorrow. So, in this constant pursuit for what we're seeking, our desires for worldly pleasures, we're so consumed by it that the even acquiring it, we're always so busy doing that, could sort of, we may have instant gratification, but this creates a lot of stress around us and within us. Now, how do we sort of deal with this restlessness? Or restlessness is, of course, just one subset of all the things that could go wrong within us and around us. So, Sadguru Siddhapal Dev Ji always stresses on seva, satsang, and sadhana. We have discussed seva, satsang, and sadhana in the past. The whole topic was just based around these three. So I'm just going to sort of bring our attention to satsang and what Swamiji, what Sadguru Siddhapal Dev Ji has always spoken about satsang. And so these are indispensable to each one of us, seva, satsang, and sadhana. And satsang would basically mean the company of the truth. And it is the best means to awaken our sense of discretion, to remove the curtain of avidya. Millions have stopped eating, say, have given up non-vegetarian food, have quit alcohol, and millions of families were saved from a breakdown. How could this all be possible? Due to satsang, due to Brahma Vidya. Satsang teaches us the do's and don'ts of life. Sometimes a person is deeply impacted by a particular word or a statement, and he gets motivated to improve his lifestyle. He becomes a better person, obeys all the ethical rules and regulations. He grows in his morals. He becomes virtuous, and he abandons the path of violence. This is the effect of satsang, which awakens the prudence and wisdom of a person to develop one's character and moral values. It is the best way to remove social discord, to eradicate all improper practices. It is a path to peace, happiness, and prosperity. So, it is of utmost importance to engage in satsang as regularly as we can, preferably on a day-to-day basis, as well as seva and sadhana. And we find ourselves at a much happier space from within and to people around us. And so, just as I said, restlessness is just maybe one part of what we're dealing with. But the answer, the solution to almost all our problems lies within seva, satsang, and sadhana. I would not spend more time on seva and sadhana because we've already discussed this at length in a previous episode of our online satsang. So, Anuragji, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Aditya. I mean, that was really enlightening. So basically, what Aditya brought out was not just the answer to the question. In fact, he also talked about what are the methods in Vihangam Yoga prescribed by Sadgurudeo to get over this restlessness about seva, sadhana, and satsang. That brings me to probably the last question that I would like to direct to Hemantji. Back to you again. I would like you to give a brief on. We have next 2 minutes about the formula which Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj wanted the world to adopt for one's own peace and for ultimately the world peace. Basically, all these topics that we are talking about, the restlessness, the pursuit, and the urge for physical subjects, basically aiming towards peace, aiming towards the attainment of the peace. So I would like you to throw some light in next 2 minutes about the voice of Swamiji, about his sandesh on this particular attainment.
Yeah, thank you, Anuragji. You want me to sum up the entire thing in a couple of minutes. But definitely, I would like to convey something which is important here. Just a couple of things. First thing, I'll take a cue from what Vijayji had mentioned, that the human life is very precious. Durlabh manus janam hai, deha na barambar, jiu taruvar patta jhade, bahuri na lage dar. So it's out of immense blessing, infinite, I would say, blessings of Lord Almighty to a particular soul that you're blessed with this human life. And second thing, all of us wants peace, and we are all pursuing spirituality in our own way. Some people do go to spiritual discourses. They practice some form of meditation. They do some form of meditation based on the level of mind, intellect, and they also do kriyas and yogasanas, pranayama. So there are so many things people are involved with. So the important message which Swamiji has emphasized, or what Vihangam Yoga advocates, is that yoga sab koi kahe, yoga na jana koi, ardhadhar urad chale, yoga khave soy. So the most important thing that has been established by Sadguru Shadafal Devji Maharaj, that how do you actually achieve the yoga or the union of self with that supreme self or Lord Almighty, so that you get rid of all these desires, the restlessness that we have inherently been living with. So, and that's only possible with the Vihangam Yoga meditation. And that starts with controlling the mind. And then once the mind is settled, is calmed, only then you are able to self-realize. And the formula would be the three things of which we have already just heard from Aditya is that seva, sadhana, and satsang. The service, the discourses, or the satsang which we have just heard, and the seva, sadhana, and the meditation of Vihangam Yoga would be the formula that we should adopt, inculcate, imbibe, and make our life better. And not only making our lives better, but also helping others to get involved and making a better world to live with. Thank you very much, Anuragji.
Thank you very much, Hemantji. So, yes, as you rightly said, yes, I tried to summarize the sum of the whole thing, but I understand, yes. So we will continue to talk and more elaborate on Survey, the message, and Swamiji's Sandesh on this particular aspect in forthcoming sessions too. Meanwhile, in summary, as Adityaji and Hemantji mentioned, Seva, Sadhana, and Satsang are the tools for the attainment, for the ultimate attainment of permanent satisfaction and permanent peace. We move towards the concluding part of the session, wherein I will redirect my attention and the control over to Sanat, who has joined us. Sanat is a kid around 8 years old, and great to have you, Sanat, here. And I will give you can you hear me, Sanat? Am I audible to you?
Yes, I'm audible.
Oh, thanks. That's a lovely voice. So, Sanat, I give you the control. Please go ahead with Shanti part.
Thank you, Anurag uncle. Jai Shri Gurudev to everyone. Shanti Path. हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांति में शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांति में शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व शांति, देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति। बोले श्री गुरुदेव की जय।
That was indeed great, Sanat. Thank you very much for summarizing up the entire session now. Today we have reached to the end of this particular session and we discussed several topics about the pursuit, about the human pursuit, about the relentless, about the goal of human life. Swamiji says, विषय न फल नर देह का, हे मति मंद अभाग, देव सदा फल गुरु कृपा, पावहु विमल विराग. The Sandesh of Sadgurudeo, Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj in Surved, to realize not just the physical achievements, but also to realize the goal of attainment of permanent peace as the goal of human life. And that's not possible without the presence of an able Sadguru, without the presence of a spiritual master. I wish you all a prosperous life, a great health on behalf of Vihangam Yoga community, on behalf of entire Vihangam Yoga community. Wish you a great health and a prosperous life. We'll be live again via the same medium at the same time next weekend. Until then, stay fit and be happy. Jai Sadgurudev to all.